Hello and welcome to the Bears and Lions podcast. In today's episode, we continue our two-part series on consistency. Of course, last episode, we talked about the 3 reasons why you should strive to be consistent in your life. In today's episode, I'm going to give you some tangible practices that I have done that have helped me be more consistent throughout the last few months. If you are listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure that you follow. And if you would share this podcast, it would mean a lot to me. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much. And make sure that you like and subscribe. If you want to follow me on my socials, you can find me on TikTok and X, formerly known as Twitter. That's at Kyle Vaught, Kyle V as in Victor, ATT. And on Instagram, you can find me at Kyle_Vaught, V as in Victor, ATT. I've had such a joy in this conversation, and I hope that you will enjoy. So let's get into it. All right, breaking down consistency. And I wanted to break it down to tangible practices and things that I've done, I myself have done. And last podcast, we went through part 1 with the 3 reasons to be consistent. I want to break down some things that I have actually done to give you a visualization. And for those of you who are watching on YouTube, I will have some graphics I'm going to actually put up here. For those of you who are listening on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, I'm going to do my best to describe what's happening and everything else. If you want to watch it, you can always tune in on YouTube. But many of you know that every single morning on social media, I post a picture of my watch. And I started this to stay accountable. I wanted to stay accountable to you and to myself because late June, early July, I was reading through a couple different studies and I was listening to a podcast about sleep and it really impacted me. And I realized I need to make a decision to be consistent with a little thing like sleep and waking up. And the decision I made was I will no longer hit snooze. And since that time, I've hit snooze 4 times in total, 3 of which have all been off days that didn't necessarily matter. I didn't have anything to do that day. But I digress on that one. There was one day that I hit snooze on a work day, and it was all right. It was just a rough day all around, but we got back up and we kept going. And one of the things that the studies were showing, though, and this was fascinating to me, is that there were studies that were showing that hitting snooze is actually dangerous to your body. It's dangerous to your stress and anxiety. And these studies were pinpointing that your circadian rhythm and what's called sleep pressure that is built up throughout the day, it's released at night when you sleep. So the more you stay up, the more you need to sleep, essentially. And your sleep inertia, and I'm not going to go into sleep inertia because there's tons of studies on it. I'm just going to simply say, at some point, Google sleep inertia and do some reading, or YouTube sleep inertia and listen to some really awesome experts talk about sleep inertia. It's fascinating, absolutely fascinating. But what these studies showed is that hitting snooze can impact your circadian rhythm, and that can lead to stress, anxiety, and immune deficiencies, along with a lack of recovery, because your body isn't actually able to recover or process the way that it should. And here's how. When you hit snooze, your body says it's time to wake up. When the alarm goes off, your body says it's time to wake up. When you hit snooze, your body's like, what's going on? We're waking up. Why are you laying back down? Is it bedtime? What's happening? And what happens is your body starts getting confused. And that sleep pressure that builds up throughout the day, that's why a lot of people in the afternoon, they have not had good sleep. Therefore, the sleep pressure has reached a maximum and they're like, you need a nap now. You're going to crash now. It's time for bed now. But you're like, no, I got to make it through the rest of the day. So we self-medicate with caffeine and other things, right? And it's like, no, we're going to stay up. And then your body's all confused because you're so juiced up on caffeine and you're so juiced up on other things, whether it's nicotine, etc., any other prescription or non-prescription drugs. Your body doesn't understand when it should go to bed or when it should stay up. And of course, the blue lights have a lot to do with it. Late at night, staying up late has a lot to do with it. Then waking up early, trying to go to work. For those of you who, maybe have a flex schedule or you stay up super late and then you wake up to go to work, it actually impacts your body way more than you realize. And there's this buildup. And one, I would say it probably causes more cortisol buildup, which is the stress-induced hormone or stress-inducing hormone that your body creates. But that's a whole nother thing we can get into at some point. But it builds that stress and anxiety, and your immune system, you'll just get sick more when you get that sleep disruption by hitting snooze. And it will happen. And that's why some people, I think inevitably, you have people who are just more prone to getting sick, and they're not sickly. They just get sick more often. And I think it has a lot to do with diet and their sleep hygiene. And I knew that as soon as I took ownership of my sleep, that was the first choice I was going to make throughout the day. And that first choice to not hit snooze was me going to be consistent. Every day I was going to try to be consistent to do that. And every day I have been consistent except for those 4 days. And I know that I can do this. And what it's taught me is that when that alarm goes off, I'm up. Doesn't matter, I'm up. And it allows me to get so much more done. It allows me to take control of what I can control. And that way, when everything goes haywire throughout the day, I know I'm controlling what I can control. Therefore, I don't need to stress. It's okay. That's out of my control. Whatever's happening, that's out of my control. It's not worth putting my energy into and stressing about it. I've controlled what I can control. This is out of my control. But that ownership of waking up is the first thing I did with consistency. And I can tell you, it has impacted everything about me. My days are so much better because I have time in the morning, because I wake up in the morning and I have time to prepare myself. I have time to write out my plan. I have time to put down some goals of what I want to accomplish before work and then after work. Also, the other thing is it's given me the opportunity to connect with other people who are awake at that time. And so I have this friend group that we wake up in the morning, and probably before 6 a.m., we've already texted. We do reading together, and we've already texted about what we've read in order to develop a good mindset for the day. It's awesome. It's honestly awesome. The second thing I wanted to give you a tangible practice is exercise. Now, I've posted about exercise in the past, and of course I talk about it often. I do exercise a lot. I usually go every morning throughout the week. I go to the gym, and then on the weekends I go for a walk. But that didn't always happen. It was actually back in July, right after I made the decision on the sleep. I was like, okay, my body, I was looking in the mirror and I was like, my body's not really reacting to workouts anymore. Part of the reason was I was only going like 2-3 times a week for about 30-40 minutes. And I wasn't really lifting or training. I was just working out and doing cardio and stuff. It was more of like maintenance workouts. It wasn't really like, yeah, I'm going to push myself. No, I pretty much never reached failure ever. And I wouldn't even like get close to it, to be honest. So in July, I set this goal and I was like, I'm going to stop drinking for 3 months and I'm going to work out 5 to 6 days a week. Every single week for the next 3 months just to see what I can do. About 3 weeks in, on the weekends, I went for this long walk. So I set on my watch the calorie, the calories, the steps, the goals for standing, and the goals for working out every day. And I hit them. For like the first 3 weeks, I hit them and I realized I don't even care about reaching the 3 weeks or the 6 weeks or the 3 months. I just want to keep doing this. I want to build a habit to where this is my normal. And I pretty much, there was a few days where I drank, but that was for other reasons where like, one was like a friend's birthday party. And I was like, of course, like, I'm not going to be somebody who's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm on a diet. I'm not going to, no, like, sure, I had a drink. It didn't throw me off. The next day I was at the gym. It was fine. I didn't waste any time. But as you can see, and I want to put this up, I have been consistent for 109 days as of the recording of this podcast. For 109 days, I have reached my goals on my Apple Watch. And I know that this has built a habit that will continue on. And see, I'm about to move. You can actually see all, like boxes behind me and stuff. I'm about to move. Actually, while you're listening to this podcast, probably, it's Thursday, and I am driving to Baltimore today. Like, this is pre-recorded, but I'm driving to Baltimore to my new place. And I know that I'm not going to be able to work out today. Like, I know that I'm not going to be able to work out the day that this podcast is posted. I know I'm not going to be able to get my steps in because I'm going to be in the car all day. I know I'm not going to get my stand because I'm going to be in the car all day. I know that this will end and I no longer will have a streak, but I don't care about that because as soon as I get set up, my body is going to revert back into the habit that it's created. And that's something that I've learned and it's helped me a lot, is that I know that this is not going to derail me. And I know that I can focus and I can build and grow and get back to it. And instead of having to get back in shape, I am maintaining shape. And I'm training and maintaining my training rather than trying to get back into training. And that makes it a lot less difficult because it's my normal. And that's something that I learned, is the consistency has taught me, if you focus only on your goal, when you hit your goal, there's this inevitable chance that there's just going to be a drop off. Like, yay, I hit my goal. Now we can party. Now I can drink. Now I can do this. Now I can eat this. And what you see is so many people go through these diets, they lose a bunch of weight, and then they're like, wow, it was so great. And then they revert back to their habit. And what I've learned is that if you focus on building good habits, all hell can break loose and you're always going to return to that good habit. And that is what the gym has been for me, is building that consistency and building that habit to where that is my normal. So I know as soon as I get situated in Baltimore, I'm going to be right back at it. We're going to find a gym, we're going to find a rhythm, and we're going to go. And I can't wait. It's going to be incredible. Lastly, I want to talk to you guys about this podcast. This is the third tangible practice for me that has taught me discipline and consistency and benefited me in so many ways. There is something in your life right now that you've told yourself you want to do. You've always wanted to do it, but you just haven't yet. Maybe you keep telling yourself, I'm not ready yet. Or maybe you tell yourself, I don't know if I can do this. Or maybe you've just procrastinated like me. I procrastinated on this podcast for years. Years I've been talking about this podcast and this idea of bears and lions and what it's meant to me and how it's impacted my life and how I even view life. And for years, I just sat on it and said, nah, I'm not ready, or I'll do it when I'm ready, or I'll do it later. And I owe it to myself to be consistent and to put in the work. I know that I can do this at a high level. I have a background in broadcast. I have a background in listening to people, working at a suicide crisis line. I have a background of helping people. And I know that this is something that brings me so much joy. And the consistency of putting out episodes every single week has helped me learn so much more, because it's not like I just wing it. I don't just wake up one day and say, yeah, I want to talk about things. This would be cool to talk about. I mean, yeah, there's always days and podcasts where, there's episodes where I've done that. But for the most part, all of this stuff has come from years of experience, thoughts, old writings, things I come across with, different podcasts and things that bring up different lessons that I've learned. And I've gotten a chance to share a bit about myself. And we started this 16 and a half weeks ago now. 16 and a half weeks ago. That's 4 months, 1/3 of a year we've done this, which is wild to me. But when I started this podcast, I had one goal in mind. I just want to serve you. I want to provide information and communicate and practice. And in 4 months, we have 100 subscribers on YouTube. Thank you so much. We have 150 more followers on Instagram, with over 300,000 views on Instagram, by the way. That's wild to me. We've got 100 plus followers on X, formerly known as Twitter. And we've also started TikTok. I didn't have a TikTok prior. I thought it was crazy, but now I'm learning TikTok and it's awesome. Out of all of these things, though, this podcast has taught me that consistency is so important in every aspect of your life. And I can promise you, it's something that you should pursue. It's something that you should tangibly practice throughout your day. So whatever that may be, whatever you want to do, start focusing on the little things. And maybe it's something as little as I need to brush my teeth in the morning and at night. I need to go to the gym once every other day, or I need to practice piano every day. I need to practice guitar every day. I need to wake up in the morning at the same time. I need to stop hitting snooze. Whatever that may be, I can promise you, consistency is going to help you. It's going to make you more trustworthy. It's going to give you the ability to set aside time and say, no, I'm consistent with this, so I know that I can afford it. I know I can do this. Maybe you need to be consistent with money. Whatever it is, though, I can promise you, consistency has helped me know that this is my limit. And I've reached this limit, and then I've kept going past that limit. So I know I can go so much farther than I could even imagine. It's also helped me focus on those little things. And what I've learned is that the little things are actually the big things, but they just haven't fully grown yet. And that's something that's so unique and beautiful, is that in the process of building, I know that this consistency over time, it will continue to grow and grow and grow. And I can't wait to see what this future holds. I hope that you will pursue some form of consistency in your life, because everybody is consistent. Believe it or not, everybody is consistent. You just might not be consistent in the best way, shape, or form, because you may be the person which everybody knows, they're going to be late, or yeah, they never reply to my text, or yeah, they're going to probably want to do this, or yeah, they're probably going to want to drink, or yeah, they're probably going to want to go see this movie, or yeah, they're probably going to want to go spend money here, or yeah, they're going to want to do this. Maybe you're just somebody who's, oh yeah, they probably have an issue that they need to walk through. Whatever it might be, everybody's consistent in some way, shape, or form. So choose healthy things to be consistent for so that you're trustworthy. Oh yeah, I know this guy's going to pick up. Are you the friend that people call? Hey, I need some help with this. That's an honor. That's an honor to be that person. And I just wanted to encourage each and every one of you with these two parts. One, the reasons why you should pursue consistency, but two, there are tangible, practical ways that you can pursue consistency every single day, and over time, it will impact you. I'm not saying it's going to be immediate. That's the whole purpose. But over time, it's going to impact you in incredible ways. And I can promise you that. That's going to do it for this conversation. I have had so much fun going through these last two podcasts in just different studies that I've relooked up, and different things that I've learned, and different things that I've been reminded of, and just going through some of the things that I've accomplished over the last few months. It's been incredible. I'm so thankful for each and every one of you that listen. If you are listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please make sure that you follow, share that podcast. I would absolutely love for you to share it, rate it, etc. If you're listening or watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you and the interactions. If you want to comment below, I'd love to see the comments. If you want to find me on social media, I'm on Instagram at Kyle_VATT is my last name, Vaught. And I hope to get at Kyle Vaught at some point on Instagram. But I'm at Kyle Vaught, KYLEV as in Victor, ATT on TikTok and on X as well, formerly known as Twitter. For everybody else, I hope that you have a wonderful week. We will see you soon. The next episode may be a pre-recorded episode in this same room, or there may be a surprise and we may be in the new setup. We will see. I hope that all of you will have a wonderful week. Remember to give grace, show love, and as always, stay stellar. Peace.